In this tutorial, we are going to make this teddy bear who bit into the cookie, and we will be using the boolean modifier to achieve this bite effect. Before we start, I'd just like to ask you to hit like and subscribe to support my channel, and let's jump right into it. So first of all, I'm in a new startup file. Here's my default cube, and I'm going to click on my light, shift click on my camera, press M to move to new collection, call it cam, and light, and just click on create. And then here in the outliner, I'll click on this eye icon next to the cam and light folder and hide it from the 3D viewport. Let's click on the cube, go to front view with one on your numpad. I'll zoom in a little bit, press S to scale and scale it down to around this size and zoom in a bit further. Press Ctrl A to apply the scale. And now I'm going to go to my modifiers, and you can add the subdivision surface modifier here, or you can just press Ctrl 3. That's the shortcut for the subdivision surface modifier. It has 3 levels in the viewport, and I'm going to set the render level to 3 as well. And now I'll tab into edit mode. You can also change it here. Turn on X-ray here, or you can just press Alt Z. That takes you in and out of X-ray mode. And first of all, I'm going to box select the top vertices because I'm in X-ray mode. It selected the ones at the back as well. And I'm just going to press S to scale it down a little bit like that, and then G and Z to bring it down a little. I'll tab back into object mode, come out of X-ray with Alt Z, shift right click somewhere around here, shift A to add mesh, and I'll add another cube, S to scale it down to about this size, Ctrl A to apply the scale, and then Ctrl 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier. I think I'm going to scale it up just a little bit, and then Ctrl A to apply the scale again. 3 on my numpad to go to side view, and I'm just going to press G and Y to pull it somewhere here. Also, I'll set the render level on the subdivision surface modifier to 3, and then tab into edit mode. I'm going to box select. I'm going to go back to X-ray mode, box select these back vertices, S to scale them down just a little bit, and then box select these vertices, press G and Y to pull it out like that, and then S to scale it up to around this size. Tab back into object mode. Let's come out of X-ray mode and just go to front view to have a look, and then I'll go to top view and press R to rotate it a little bit like that. Maybe just scale it down a little bit as well because it's a little too big. Okay, so that's perfect. Now I'm going to move my mouse here and press Shift right click to move the 3D cursor up there. Press Shift A to add mesh cube, scale it down again to around this size. Ctrl 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier. Let's go to side view and just move it somewhere around here. Go back to front view, Ctrl A to apply the scale and make sure that the subdivision surface modifier is set to render level 3. And then I'll tab into edit mode, go into X-ray mode, box select these vertices and press S to scale it up just a little bit, and then press G and pull it out somewhere here. Let's go to side view just to see it doesn't overlap. That looks good. And I think I'm just going to press A to select everything and just S to scale it down a little bit. So that looks great. Let's tab back into object mode and turn off X-ray. Now what I want to do is mirror the hand and the leg to the other side. So with the hand still selected, go to your modifiers, add modifier, generate mirror. So you can see mirrored it on the x-axis, but what we want is to mirror it to the other side of the body. So with the eyedropper tool, hover it over the body and just click, and that will move it there. And now I'll do the same with the leg as well. So add the modifier, generate mirror, and just select my body as the mirror object. And now I'm just going to right click to shade smooth all of my objects like that. Now let's add the head of the teddy bear. So shift right click somewhere around here, press Shift A to add mesh cube, and S to scale it down to around this size. Ctrl 3 to add a subdivision surface modifier, Ctrl A to apply the scale, and what I'll do is go to my modifier, and from this drop down menu I'll click on apply to apply the modifier. Let's tab into edit mode and go to X-ray mode, and I'm going to go to face mode. You can also press 3 for face mode, and I'm going to select these top faces. It hasn't selected it all, but that's okay. I just hold down Shift and select them like that. I'm going to turn my proportional edit on, press S to scale, and then just make the circle of influence about this size and just scale it down like that. And then select all of these bottom faces and press S to scale on the X and start to pull it outwards like that. Let's go to side view just to check. Press S to scale on the Y as well, like that. Now I'm going to select everything with A, turn off my proportional editing, press G, and just position the head on the top of the body like that. And I think I might just scale it all up a little bit more to around this size. Okay, great. Now I'll come out of X-ray mode and I'll select a couple of faces here, and this is going to be the bear's snout. So I'll come to perspective view so you can see. I'll press E to extrude on the Y and I'll pull it out a little bit like this and press S to scale it down. Go to side view with 3 on my numpad and press G and Z to lift it up a little bit. So that's great. And then I'm going to go to edge mode with 2. Select this edge, press GG and just move it inwards a little bit. And then this one, GG, move it inwards a little bit. This one, GG, slide it upwards. And then this one, GG, slide it upwards as well, like that. Now I'm going to go to object mode with tab, right click and shade smooth. So right now it looks a bit funky, but that's okay. Let's step back into edit mode. Press Ctrl R to do a loop cut and you want to move it here. Click once to confirm the number of the loop cut and then start pulling it closer to the edge like that. And now if you tab back into object mode, you can see there's a supporting loop. And what I'll do is I'll add another subdivision surface modifier. So Ctrl 3 and that's it. And then I'm going to set the render level to 3. So that's the head of my little teddy bear done. I'm just going to click on the body, tab into edit mode, and that top face still selected. I'm just going to press S to scale it down a little bit like that. And I think with the bottom, let's go to X-ray mode and to vertex mode here. I'm going to select them and just press S to scale it up a little bit. And that looks much better. And then Alt Q whilst my mouse is over the leg. And I'm going to go to top view. So this face is still selected. I'm just going to press G and Y to move it on the local Y axis like that. And then I'll hover over the hands, press Alt Q to select it. And I'm going to press R to rotate it and G to move it downwards maybe. And then these, I box select those on the top and press G to move it somewhere around here, R to rotate it just a little bit like that. Step back into object mode. Let's have a look now. Right, now let's add a face to this teddy bear. So I'm going to move my 3D cursor here. So Shift right click, press Shift A to add, mesh, UV sphere, and press S to scale it down to around this size. Go to top view with numpad 7. Press S to scale on the Y, make it nice and thin, and R to rotate it so it aligns with the head. Let's go to side view with 3 on your numpad and press R to rotate it like that. Let's just zoom in just to see. Here we go. Let's go back to front view, right click, shade smooth. And then what I'll do is Shift D to duplicate and press S to scale it down, nice and small. Press G and just move it somewhere here. Let's go to side view. I press R to rotate it a little bit and press G and Y to bring it out somewhere around here. And then just go to top view just to check. R to rotate it from the top as well. That looks good. Now I'm going to click on either one, the smaller part or the bigger part. Go to my modifiers, add modifier, generate mirror, and I'll click on the eyedropper and hover it over the head and just choose it as my mirror object, and you can see it mirrored it on the other side. And now I'm going to select the smaller part and shift select the bigger part with the mirror modifier. Press Ctrl L, copy modifiers, and now you can see it appeared on the other side. So that's great. Now let's move our 3D cursor here. Shift A to add mesh cube, S to scale it down, nice and small, to about this size. Control 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier, set the render level to 3, press Control A to apply the scale, and tab into edit mode. I'm going to go to side view, turn on my X-ray, and I'm going to press G and move this bit on the y-axis like that, and then select this part and press G and move it somewhere around here. Go to front view, select these again on the top, press S to scale on the X and make it a little bit bigger, and I think that looks good. So let's step back to object mode, come out of X-ray mode, and just right click, shade smooth. So that's quite cute. Now I'm going to move my 3D cursor somewhere around here. So shift right click, shift A to add mesh cube, S to scale it down to about this size. Control 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier. And what I'll do is I'll tab into edit mode. It's very small, you can't really see it. I'll do a loop cut in the middle. So Control R, go to face mode, box select. Oh, I'm not in X-ray mode, so I'll go to X-ray mode and now box select this half. Press X to delete, and I'll delete those faces. Tab back into object mode, and now tab back into object mode, go to my modifiers, add the modifier, generate, mirror, and I want it to be on the x-axis, which it is by default, and I'm just going to turn on clipping. Now let's step back into edit mode. So let's select this bottom face, press E to extrude and pull it downwards like that, maybe once more like that, and then select this face on the side, press E to extrude like that, R to rotate, and G like that. E to extrude again, R to rotate, and maybe just S to scale it down a little bit. Now let's go to side view. So we want to select the top face, turn on proportional editing, and press G and Y and just pull it backwards like that. And then I think I'm going to select this face on the front, go back to side view, press G and Y and just pull it outwards like that. So that looks good. Let's step back into object mode, come out of X-ray mode, go to front view, right click, shade smooth. And I'm just going to move my 3D cursor away from there. Maybe just press G and Z to lift it up a little bit like that. Okay, great. Now we just want to add an ear to the teddy bear. Move your mouse here and shift right click to move your 3D cursor there. Press Shift A to add mesh, and again we add another cube. Press S to scale it down to about this size. Control 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier, and here I'm just going to go to this drop down menu and apply it. And I'm just going to go to side view for a second just to check, and maybe just S to scale on the Y to make it a little bit flatter. Press G and Y to move it somewhere around here. Go back to front view with numpad 1, Control A to apply the scale, and tab into edit mode. Turn on your X-ray, and what we want is delete the bottom part. So go to face mode and select all of these faces, press X to delete and click on faces. So that's great. Now what I want to do is do an extrusion. So I'll come out of X-ray mode, press A to select everything, and R to rotate it like that. Just press G to move it into position. And maybe just S to scale it down a little bit. So it's about this size. Now I'm going to select some faces. Actually, I'm going to press C and just holding down my mouse, select all of these faces, and then right click to come out of circle select mode. Go to perspective view and just press E to extrude and move these faces inwards like that. And press Ctrl R for a loop cut, and you want to do your loop cut here. One click to confirm the number of the loop cuts, and then slide it so it's almost touching the inner edge like that, and then click again. Now tab back into object mode, Ctrl 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier, and just make sure that the render level is on 3, and then right click, shade smooth. So that's the ear of my teddy bear done. Now all we need to do is select the ear, go to the modifiers, add modifier, generate mirror, and with the eyedropper tool, just hover over the head and click, and it will mirror it on the other side. So that's great. I just have a quick look around, and I think my teddy bear looks pretty good. There's one more thing I want to do. Click on the body, go to my modifier, my subdivision surface modifier, and click apply, and then tab into edit mode. Click away so nothing is selected. And what I want is to use my knife tool to cut some of these faces into halves. So press K for the knife tool, and I'm going to select this face, click on that corner, and then move it to the other corner, the opposite, click again and press enter, and then do the same here as well. So K for the knife tool, click on that corner and click on that one, and then enter to confirm it. So basically when you use the knife tool, the knife sticks to vertices and edges. This is why I moved it there. Okay, let's step back to object mode, and I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Select all my teddy bear objects. Press M to move to new collection, call it teddy bear and create. And I'm just going to press G and X to move it out of the way. Press Shift S, and then I click on cursor to world origin to snap my 3D cursor back into the world origin. And with my teddy bear still selected, I'm going to press G and Z just to move it above the X-axis, and maybe just G and X to move it just a little bit closer. Okay, so I want to add the new object. So Shift A to add, mesh, and I'll add the cylinder. And here in this pop-up menu, I change the vertices to 12 because we don't need 32. And now I'm going to press S to scale it down to, let's say, about this size, and then S to scale on the Z to make it nice and flat, and then G and Z to move it up there above the X-axis. Let's zoom in. Press Ctrl A to apply the scale, and then tab into edit mode. And now I'm going to select this top face. So 3 to go to face mode, select this face, press I to inset it, and inset it to around here, and then Ctrl R to do a loop cut, one click and pull it out to somewhere around here. Go back to face mode, holding down Alt, click between two of these faces to select the whole face loop, press E to extrude and just pull it upwards a little bit like that. Let's go back to edge mode, and I'm going to hold down Alt and select this outer edge loop and press Ctrl B to bevel it, and I'll create a couple of extra edges with the wheel of my mouse. And then I want to select the inner edge loop, so holding down Alt, I'll select that part, press Ctrl B to bevel it, to round it down like that. Now let's select this bottom edge, press S to scale it down, and then Ctrl B to bevel it, and these bevels can be a little bit bigger like that. So that's it. And now I'm going to tab back into object mode, Ctrl 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier, right click, shade smooth. So that's my little plate done. Maybe just tab back into edit mode for a second, go to face mode, select this face, turn on your proportional editing and just press G, make the circle of influence a little bit bigger, Z, and then you can pull it downwards like that. We can also add one more loop cut. Let's just go to X-ray mode, one click and just pull it closer like that. And then tab back into object mode. So that's my little plate. I'm quite happy with it. And let's come out of X-ray mode. Now let's add the cookie onto the top of this plate. So let's go to top view with numpad 7, and you want to move your 3D cursor here. So shift right click on the top. I'm trying to hit the middle, but it's not that easy, like that. So now if you go to front view, you can see it's not in the world origin, it's on the plate. Right, let's go back to top view. Shift A to add, mesh, and again, we'll add the cube. S to scale it down, and Ctrl 3 to add the subdivision surface modifier. Let's scale it up just a little bit, like that. 1 on your numpad to go to front view, and S to scale on the Z to make it flat, and then G and Z to bring it up to somewhere around here. Let's just have a look. Maybe just a little bit higher up. So G and Z like that. Control A to apply the scale and tab into edit mode. Press Control R and you want to do a loop cut here. One click and then pull it down almost all the way to the bottom like that. Let's just go to X-ray mode and then A to select everything, G and Z to lift it up. Let's have a look. Yep, that should be all right. Great. Now let's step back into object mode. Go to your subdivision surface modifier and apply it. So from this drop down menu, click on apply. Now let's step back to edit mode. Go to top view. 1 to go to vertex mode and Alt A to deselect everything. Press C and start to just randomly select a couple of bits and bobs like that. So when you click, it will select the vertices that are under the circle, maybe one here as well, and then just right click when you finished. And what we want is with the proportional editing still on, press G and Z, make the circle of influence very small and just slowly pull them up like that. Okay, tap back into object mode, add another subdivision surface modifier, so Control 3 and then right click shade smooth and make sure that the render level is also on 3. So that's great. Now we just want to add some chocolate chips onto the top. So Shift A to add, mesh, and I'll add an icosphere. Press S to scale it down and make it nice and small to about this size. Let's go to front view, press G and Z, and then S to scale on the Z to make it flat. Let's go back to top view, and what we'll do, we just do a couple of duplicates. Let's zoom in. So Shift D to duplicate, move it somewhere here. Shift D to duplicate, move it here. And just randomly place them. Some of them you can scale down. Let's make them a little bit smaller so it seems a little bit more random. Let's grab a couple of big ones, a few small ones, and more here. So I'm just duplicating them and placing them randomly on the top of the cookie. And some will need to be brought down. So G and Z on this one, G and Z on this one. Let's go around, G and Z. Maybe this one as well. Okay, that's great. Now, holding down Shift, start selecting all of these chocolate chips like that. Press M to move to new collection and call it Choc Chips and just create. Okay, now let's go to top view with numpad 7 and I'm going to place my 3D cursor somewhere around here. Press Shift A to add mesh and I'll add the cylinder. Change the vertices to 16 and then press S to scale it down to about this size and then just press G and move it somewhere around here. And here I'm going to name this cylinder boolean. And under the object properties, if you scroll down to viewport display, under display as, we can change it to wire. So we don't have to see the faces, we can just see the edges. And now I'm going to find my Choc Chip collection, right click on it, select objects, and then holding down Shift, I'll select my cookie. Go to the modifiers and I'm going to apply the subdivision surface modifier because I don't need it anymore and I want to copy modifiers from that object, but I don't want to copy the subdivision surface modifier. So add modifier, generate, and we want to add the boolean modifier. We want to leave this on object and then with the eyedropper tool, we select the boolean cylinder. So now you can see it cut out this bit of my object, but what about the chocolate chips? So we need to copy the boolean modifier onto the chocolate chips. So make sure that the cookie is still your active object. So that's the one with the yellow outline. Press Ctrl L, copy modifiers. And now you can see the cookie cutter or the boolean cylinder cut into the chocolate chips as well. So that's great. Now I'm going to select my boolean cylinder and here I'm going to hide it from the viewport and also going to hide it from the rendered view. So now we have this cute little chocolate chip cookie and I'm going to just select everything and make it just a little bit smaller like that and then G and Z and move it down here. So that's great. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add some crumbs onto the plate. So Shift A to add, mesh, icosphere. S to scale it down like that. Go to front view, press G and Z to bring it down. S to scale on the Z like that. Let's have a look. I don't think it's on the plate. So G and Z and bring it down. Scale it down a little bit further and then just Shift D to duplicate and just move them around like that. And now I'm gonna go to front view, bring my teddy bear here, Shift right click on his face, Shift A to add, mesh, icosphere, S to scale it down like that. Oh, let's zoom in. Go to perspective view, S to scale on the Y like that. Maybe just scale it down further and then just add a few more. This one is a little bit too in. S to scale, Shift D, bring it here. Shift D on the Z, bring one at the edge of his mouth as well. Maybe this big one, Shift D, Z, and then just start to rotate it, and G and Y like that. So that looks great. Now I'm going to add a background or floor. So Shift S, click on cursor to world origin, and that will snap my 3D cursor to the world origin. Shift A to add, mesh, plane, and I'm going to scale this plane up. Let's go to top view. That might be a little too big. Let's make it about this big. Control A, apply the scale. Let's tab into edit mode. Press Control R and you want to do a loop cut right here horizontally in the middle. And then double click to confirm the number and the position of the loop cut. Go to edge mode with 2. Now select everything with A. Press G and Y and move it somewhere here. So you want this line to be behind the teddy bear and the cookie. And then select this edge. If you're not in edge mode, press 2. 3 on your numpad to go to side view and press G and then just lift it up like that. I think I'll just move it backwards a little bit more. So select everything with A and G and Y to move it backwards. And I'm going to select this edge, press Ctrl B to bevel it, and just add some extra edges with the wheel of my mouse. And then tab back into object mode, right click, shade smooth. So that's great. This is going to be our background and I'm just going to set up my camera view. So go here and click on your camera. This is what you see through the camera view. And with this one, you can lock the camera view so you can actually move your scene and not your camera. So I'm going to zoom in somewhere like this. And I'm going to go here to my outliner, right click on my teddy bear folder and select objects. And I am also going to select the morsels on its mouth. So box select them, but now that's selected my background. So I'll just click on it. And just to make sure that the morsels are also part of this folder, I'm going to press M to move to the teddy bear collection. So now my icospheres are also in there as well. So let's select the teddy bear folder. Let's go to top view, R to rotate, and I'll move it somewhere around here, maybe like that. Select all of these, make sure that the background is selected and just move it somewhere around here in front of the teddy bear. Right, let's have a look in front view. Okay, let's go back to camera view and just zoom in a little bit. And I think I'm quite happy with this setup. And all we need to do now is to add some colors. So to add the colors, we are going to go to the shading workspace. But first, I just want to organize my scene a little bit. So I'm going to go to front view, select my teddy bear and make sure that the background is selected and press G and Z to bring it down a little bit. And I can see that the bum of the teddy bear is not quite down. So I'll try to get the right angle and R to rotate and then just move it like this. Let's go back to front view, R to rotate. So it sits on the floor like that. Now I'm going to select all these little crumbs on his face and deselect the head with holding down Shift. And I'm going to select these crumbs on the plate as well. And now press M to move to new collection, call it crumbs and just create. Actually, I think I'm going to click on the cookie as well, press M and move it to the crumbs collection as well. Now we can go to the shading workspace. Here, I'm going to move my mouse in between. So I'm still on this window, but in the corner. Click and then start pulling towards the left until join areas appear and just let it go. And I'll do the same here, pulling upwards until join areas appear and let it go. So now I have two windows. Let's just zoom in on this one. So this is my scene, and here I have the shader editor. I'm going to scroll until I get to these 4 circles. We are in material preview mode at the moment, but I want to go to rendered view. And here under the render properties, you can see you are in the Eevee render engine. If you turn on ray tracing, you can start to see some shadows. It mimics real light and shadows. I think I'm going to stay in Eevee, but I might change it to cycles later. But for now, this is fine. And here I'm going to choose world from this drop-down menu, and I'm going to add an HDRI for the background to edit some lights. So the HDRI I downloaded, it's called University Workshop, and I downloaded it from polyhaven.com. You can get all sorts of HDRIs from there, and it's all free to download. So press Shift A to add texture, environment texture, and just pop it here. You can plug it in color to color, but it will turn pink like this. So you have to add the HDRI. So go to Open Image, find the folder where you downloaded your HDRI to, and then just click on the HDRI. So again, mine is University Workshop, and just open image. So now if I zoom out, you can see there's the HDRI in the background. I won't actually will be seeing it because I already added my background. So I'm just going to bring down the strength to about 0.85, and that gives me some nice shadows. Now, there's one more thing I'm going to do is find my chalk chip collection, right click on it and select objects, and then shift click on the cookie and press G and Z just to bring it down a little bit because I can see there's a gap underneath it. Okay, great. Now let's go back to the object shader and let's start with the background. So select your background. Here, add a new material and call it floor or background. It doesn't really matter. And for the color, I'm just going to move this here. I'm going to add a sky texture, which is basically a gradient texture. So press Shift A to add texture, find the sky texture and just pop it here. You can plug it in and you can see it sort of turned into blue and white like the sky and the clouds. Let's zoom in. But I want to change the colors, and for that I'm going to add another node. So Shift A to add color ramp and just pop it in between and it will automatically plugs in. Now the sky texture from this drop down menu, I'm going to change it to the prism. Bring down the turbidity to about 2. And now I want to change these colors. So click on this slider and go to the color. And this one, I'm going to change it to white. And then this one, I added like very light brown color like that. So you can already see the difference. It's sort of sliding into this white color, but I want to add an extra color. And for that, I'm going to click on this plus sign, click here. And for the color, I have chosen a peachy orangey color like this. And now all I need to do is just find the right position. So move this one here and then maybe move the white one just a little bit closer like this. So I quite like it this way. So that's great. Now let's click on the plate, edit a new material, call it plate. For the plate, let's add the base color. I mean, you can add whatever color you want to add. I went with this pastel yellowish color like this. Let's come out of camera view. So you see, that's my plate color. Right, let's click on the cookie, edit a new material, call it cookie. And for the cookie, I added a brownish color and pulled up the roughness all the way. I think this might be a little bit too dark, so I'll bring it up with this slider to somewhere around here. And then I'm going to come here to my outliner, find my crumbs folder, right click, select objects, and make sure that the cookie is your active object. So that's the one with the yellow outline. If not, just shift click on it until it is. And then Control L, link materials. So that's great. Now, let's click on this chocolate chip, edit a new material, call it choc chip. And for the choc chip, find a really dark, sort of reddish brown color like this and pull down the roughness a little bit to about 0.2 or 3, maybe a little bit more, make it nice and shiny. And here, go to your choc chip folder, right click, select objects. Make sure that your choc chip is the active object. And I think for some reason my background also went into this folder. So I hold down Shift and click on it twice so it's not selected anymore. And with Shift click, choose the brown color chocolate chip. Press Ctrl L, link materials. So that's it. That's done. Now let's click on the bear's eye, add a new material, call it eye black. Pull up the roughness all the way, and here with this slider, pull it down almost all the way to the black. And now select the nose, shift select the mouth, and then shift select the black part of the eye. Ctrl L, link materials. So that's great. Now I'm going to select the legs, go to my modifiers and apply my subdivision surface modifier. Then go to my materials, add a new material, call it bear darker. Again, you can color your bear whatever color you want. That's fine. I went with something like this. This is the color code I used and just pulled up the roughness all the way to 1. Now go to your slot here, add the new slot with the plus sign, and for that slot add the new material, call it bear lighter. And for the bear lighter material, again I just chose like a creamy light color. You don't see it yet because we haven't assigned any faces. Pull up the roughness all the way, and then here let's tab into edit mode. Now I press 3 to go to face mode, and because I had this one face selected before and then I applied the subdivision surface modifier, it selected exactly the faces that I need. If not, you can see it's sort of the bottom of the bear's leg. Go to the slot, choose the bear lighter slot and assign it. So that's great. And I can just see that here the floor is still a little bit down. So I'll press tab, click on the floor, press G and Z, and it's probably easier if I move the floor rather than moving everything else. Okay, now click on the hand, go to the modifiers, go to the subdivision surface modifier, and from this drop-down menu, apply it. Here, edit the bear darker material, edit a new slot, and for that slot, choose the bear lighter material. Here, tab into edit mode. You should be in face mode. If not, just press 3. And I'm going to speed this up, but I'm shift selecting all these faces. Zoom in just a little bit. Here we go. And go to the slot, click on the bear lighter slot and assign it. And here I can tab back into object mode. Right, let's go to my body, edit the bear darker material, edit a new slot, and for that, choose the bear lighter. Let's tab into edit mode, and I think I have made a mistake here when I use my knife tool. I cut the wrong face, so I just go to edge mode and select this edge, press X and dissolve edges. And then with my knife tool, I actually want to do it here. So press K, move it onto that corner, click, and then pull it down to the opposite corner and click again and just enter. And now go back to face mode, and I'm going to select these faces and these ones. And then just press C for circle select, and holding down my mouse button, just select the ones in the middle and then click away with the right mouse button to confirm it. Now go to your slot, choose the bear lighter slot and assign it. And then you can come out of edit mode. So tab. So that's great. And now let's select the ear, edit the bear darker material, create a second slot. And for that, choose the bear lighter material. And for this, I'm going to isolate the ear with my slash key and zoom in, because we did a loop cut and there's going to be a very tiny face loop, and I have to make sure that I select that as well. So tab into edit mode and alt click on an edge between the faces and I'm going to go to X-ray mode so I can see. So you can see there's this tiny little face loop I created with my loop cut earlier. So I press Shift Alt and click between, and that will select it for me. And then I'll come out of X-ray mode, press C, and then select these inner faces as well. Oh, I selected some extra ones. So let's come out of circle select, hold down Shift and just deselect those two. Go to my slot, click on the bear lighter and just assign it, and press the slash key on your numpad to come out of isolation mode, and you can tab back into object mode. Right, the very last object is the head. So let's edit the bear darker material, edit a new slot, again use the bear lighter material. Let's zoom in, tab into edit mode. You should still be in face mode, so you can just click on this edge or this edge, holding down Alt, and that will select the whole face loop, and then just press C and select the rest of these faces as well, and click away with the right mouse button. Let's just see. Okay, great. Go to your slot, make sure the bear lighter is selected and assign it, and then tab back into object mode. So that's my little bear done. Let's go back to the layout workspace. Here you can turn on your rendered view. I'm just going to check. Well, the bear's bottom is hanging down a little bit, but that's fine. It won't be that visible, it's overlapping. Okay, so finally, let's set up our final rendered image. So I'm going to my camera view and just have a little look. I think I'm just going to maybe move it a little bit like that, and then just click on the floor and press G and X. So the HDRI won't be in the final image, maybe even a little bit more. As to scale on the X. Here we go. So I think this is the camera view that I want to have. Now I'm going to go to front view, make my cam and light folder visible. And here I select my light, and I think it's quite far away. So I just press G and move it somewhere around here to the scene, and then zoom in. And I think it's behind my background. So G and Y to move it from side view. So right now, this light is extremely strong. Minimize this window. So we can go here to the object data properties. But before I do that, I'm going to the render properties. I'm going to stay in Eevee render engine. Go to my color management, and under the view, I'll leave it on AGX, but you can also choose standard or filmic. My favorite one is AGX, and the look I usually set it to punchy. And now I'm going to go back to my data properties for the light, so this light bulb icon. And first of all, this is obviously really strong, so I will set the power to, let's say, 50. I think that's still a little bit too strong, but also I'm going to change the radius of the light and maybe just move it G and X somewhere around here. And for the color, I set it towards the yellows, so somewhere around here. Maybe just a little bit more saturated. And I think that looks pretty good. Now let's go to top view, and I'll press Shift D to duplicate this light, and I'll bring it behind the bear. Let's go back to camera view, and on this light I'm going to change the radius to a lot smaller, 0.2, like that. Maybe even bring down the strength a little bit to about 45 watts. And for the color, so this one, I went with a dark purple color. So if I set it up, you can see there's this nice purple background, and maybe just change the strength of it a little bit, so it's not that strong, to about 30. That's fine. I quite like this. And now all we need to do is to render it out. So if you want to do any adjustments, do so now. I think I'm just going to zoom in a little bit like this, and then I'll go up here to the render tab. You can also press F12 and click on render image. And that's it. So if you found this tutorial useful and you liked it, again, please hit like and subscribe to support my channel, and I will see you in the next tutorial.